Hello everyone, I'm Geertrui and I run the platform Crip Humanimal, and I would like to share some thoughts with you about the questions that I sometimes get, and that's the question, has going vegan, has it improved your health? Are you feeling better now? And that's on social occasions when you meet people at receptions or whatever, and they find out that I'm vegan and we start talking about veganism, or they find out that I'm chronically ill. And then they ask, are you better now? Has it improved your health, a plant-based diet? And I find that a difficult question to answer, and I would like to share some thoughts with you about it. Why I find it difficult is that a lot of non-chronically ill people or non-disabled people seem to think that when you're diagnosed with a disease, or when you're disabled, that you're in like a constant state of on a certain health level, and that you can very easily say, well, these lifestyle changes have impacted my health for the better or for the worse, and that you can really pinpoint those effects of some lifestyle changes. But I have to say, I've been diagnosed like 30 years ago with several autoimmune diseases, and in those 30 years my health has really gone up and down and up and down. I've had certain periods with flares when I was really ill, when I was really not good. I had certain periods when I was better, when I was more or less stable. And these fluctuations of going up and down, that can be in a matter of years. Sometimes I'm having a really bad year. Sometimes it's in a matter of months that it can go up and down. And sometimes it's even in a matter of weeks, or even on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I have some days that my joint pain is really so bad that I can hardly move, and then a couple of days later it can be better again. So the point I want to make here is that it's really difficult to pinpoint the effects of certain lifestyle changes. Of course, I do think that going vegan, following a plant-based diet, has on the overall been beneficial for my health, but it's not that I've been magically cured and that I didn't have any flares anymore. But I do believe that if I didn't went vegan, it would have been much worse even. But it wasn't the magical bullet, the magical health bullet that some vegans like to portray that a plant-based diet is, because yes, of course, a plant-based diet is beneficial in the prevention of certain diseases, like for cardiovascular conditions, or in the prevention of and the treatment of diabetes type 2, or in the prevention of certain cancers. But I should immediately add a very important note. It's not like it's 100% foolproof guarantee that you won't get a disease or that you will be cured with a plant-based diet. So I find it difficult to give a straight out answer to people when they ask me that question. So has it been beneficial for your health? Because I honestly cannot say yes, I'm feeling so much better now. I've still had problems. I went vegan about 10 years ago, and I've still had many health issues, and I've still had flares. And eventually I got operated last year. I wrote a post about that on Crip Humanimal. So I've still had my health issues, but I do think, I personally believe that going plant-based was better, but I cannot really prove that you... And that's the second issue that I would like to discuss here, is that I don't want my personal health to be seen as evidence in favor, or rather not in favor of following a plant-based diet, because my personal health is just like anecdotal evidence. If you look at it on an individual level, that is just anecdotal evidence. To prove that a plant-based diet is beneficial for health, we need scientific studies that look at populations and see what the effects are of following a plant-based or a vegan diet. And there are many such studies, of course, that show that yes, indeed, like I said, a plant-based diet is beneficial for health. So I do refer to those studies and to the scientific, the body of evidence for health benefits of a plant-based diet. But my personal situation cannot be seen as evidence in favor or not in favor. So I do find it frustrating that I cannot say straightforward, yes, of course, it's been better for my health, because then I feel like, yeah, I'm not really a good ambassador for veganism, you know. I'm not being a good ambassador for animal rights. I'm not the shining example of perfect health, you know. And I think there's also some shaming in the animal rights movement towards chronically ill vegans and towards disabled vegans. Like, yeah, if you're still ill, if you're still dealing with these issues, it must be that you're not following the right type of diet, or that you're not doing it right. But yeah, there are so many other factors than diet that also play a part in health issues, in having a disease or not. So yeah, we should really stop, and that health shaming really should end. Yeah, and another aspect that I always want bring into the conversation, you know, yes, health is, for a lot of people, it's important, and it's important to know whether a vegan diet will not have any adverse effects on their health, because some people might be thinking, I'm going to lack certain nutrients, and it's important to be able to convince them that a vegan diet is beneficial for health. But in the end, what it comes down to, and I always want to bring the conversation to that point, is that veganism is an ethical stance. It's about ethics, it's about animal rights, it's about not wanting to participate as far as is possible and practicable in the use and the exploitation of other animals. So that's really what it comes down to, not participating in animal use, in animal abuse. And of course, the health benefits, if you do experience them, they are very welcome, and they can be an entry point for people to start eating plant-based more, and eventually maybe to embrace the philosophy and the total lifestyle of veganism. So those were a couple of thoughts that I have about the question whether a vegan diet or a plant-based diet has improved my health, and why I find it difficult sometimes to answer that. I'm interested in hearing your feedback and your thoughts, especially if you're a chronically ill vegan or a disabled vegan, if you've had that question, and how do you answer that. Yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts about that. And also I would like to know whether I'm not just talking to the camera here, whether there are some people who actually watch this video. So please leave me a comment, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to read more about the interconnections between ableism and speciesism, and I post also a lot of interviews with disabled vegans, take a look at criphumanimal.org. Bye!